Hi, this video is created in conjunction with the PTEM 2.0 release training. In this video, we are going to show you a few of the functions that are available with PTEM 2.0 and how you can use them in your test plan development. Let's start with instrument discovery function. Instrument discovery is a function whereby the software can automatically detect the instruments that you have connected to your PC at the point of time, and then allow you to selectively choose which one to add to your test plan. So we go to Tools, Instrument Discovery, and PTEM will start scanning your PC for any possible instrument to add. So we have a list of instruments currently being detected but listed under unsupported. Why is it unsupported? It is because that the software currently doesn't recognize any of these instruments, so that it will not be added into the detected list over here. So to have the software recognize the instruments, we will create a configuration for that particular instrument. In my case here, I have a Skippy server running in the background, and this is the one, SFP handler Skippy server. This is basically a socket instrument whereby we can actually send commands to it over TCP/IP socket. So we're going to use this for our demonstration. To create a configuration, I'm going to go to the default configurations and add the configuration. I just need to key in some part of the model name so that the software will be able to detect the instrument, and then select the type of instrument. In this case, it will be a socket instrument for me. Refresh. So now you see that the instrument has been detected, but it has not yet been added into my test plan because my test plan right now is still empty. Right? There's still no instrument added yet. All I need to do now is to select whichever instrument that I want that is being detected, and then click on Add Selected. So this is my instrument name. Accept, and the instrument gets detected into my test plan. Then I can go ahead to set up the instrument addresses. And now I can use my instrument in my test plan. So for these instruments, I'm just going to do a IDN to query the ID of the Skippy server. Okay, so this is the socket instruments. The command IDN question mark, and the answer will be my response. And this over here, we get the response from the Skippy server. Next, let's talk about test plan reference. Test plan reference is some sort like subroutine. What we can do is to create a test plan and use it as a reference test plan, and then we can import this reference test plan into any other main test plan and use it like a subroutine. So let's go ahead and transform this test plan that we have here currently into a reference test plan. Firstly, to do that, I will need to remove the main and the cleanup group because these are no longer the available groups within a reference test plan. The main test plan will have this group. So leaving only the query socket, just like that. So let's save this as my reference test plan. That's it. I got my reference test plan ready. Now let's move back to the main test plan. So with the main test plan, you will get the main and cleanup group. So to this test plan, what I will do is to create a test step called test plan reference. And point this test step to load my reference test plan that I created just now. Click on load test plan, and you see that the test step from the reference test plan now get imported into the main test plan. I can go ahead and run my tests over here and we'll get the correct results. And also the whatever instrument that was being added into the reference test plan get imported as well. Now for a reference test plan, it is typical that we will need to pass in certain variables or pass out certain variables from the reference test plan. So this is where parameterization comes in. So let's talk about parameterization. Parameterization basically is taking the parameter of any of the test steps that you have in the test plan and then moving it up to either its parent test step or the test plan level. In doing so, this parameter can then be accessible by other test steps or by the main test plan in this case. So with my reference test plan that I have over here, what I can do is that I can parameterize the command and the answer parameter. Both of them, if I parameterize it back onto the test plan level, in my main, I would be able to have access to these two parameters. So let me save my main test plan first and load up the reference test plan. Alright, so now we are at the reference test plan. So what we're going to do now is to parameterize both the command parameter and the answer parameter. Do a right click on the parameter, click on parameterize on test plan. Same thing goes for the answer. So once you do that, you will see that both the parameter get located into the test plan settings. Save. And now if I reload my main test plan, I can actually see the parameters over here already at the test plan level. So now that the parameters are at the test plan level, how do we go about using that? Typically, what we can do is that we will assign variables to these parameters so that we can change this value at any point of time that we want. So let's go ahead and assign variables to our parameter. So for the command parameter, instead of having it as a fixed string, command string over here, let's assign this to a variable. And let's create a new variable for this. The variable that I'm going to do is called input command. It's a string variable. So now the variable has been assigned to the command value. So to give this variable a value, what we will do is to use a assignment test step, assign variable, to give the variable a value. Input command. I can enter the command over here. So if I run my test now, the assign variable test step is going to populate the command string into the input command variable, and the input command variable will then get assigned to the value of the command parameter of my reference test plan, and eventually get executed in my reference test plan. So there will be times in your test development whereby you need to dynamically change the command to be assigned to your test steps. So what we're going to do now is to use the mix-in parameter feature and create a command string that can dynamically change. So we will add mix-in. The first mix-in I'm adding, I will name it as prefix. And I'm adding another one, naming it as suffix. For the prefix, I'll just put in a value of asterisk. For the suffix, I will put in the value of a question mark. Now, to make use of a mix-in parameter in our test step, we will need to use expressions. So at the value field over here, instead of using the hard-coded IDN string that I entered here, we will use an expression to build the string. So in the expression, let's bring in the prefix first, followed by the text if I want to. This is my text, and then my suffix. So if I press enter, it will build my command string correctly. So I'm combining two parameters that I have in my test steps with a text string. If I execute my test, the test still runs correctly. And I can actually replace the IDN text with an actual variable as well. So I can actually mix parameters with variables, within a test step, so that I can build different commands, right, depending on the state of my test execution. So let's go ahead and create a variable to replace the IDN characters. Go to variable, click on add, and my variable name is going to be command string, and give it a default value, IDN. Alright, so now instead of using the IDN, the three characters that I hard-coded in my expression over here, let's replace this with the variable that we just created. So now you have the mixing parameter for the first part, which is the prefix, followed by a variable, a string variable, followed by another mixing parameter over here. If you enter, it builds the command correctly. If I run my test, right, the test is still working as per normal. So let's move back to test plan reference. So now back on the test plan reference, after we send in the command, we will receive a response at the answer parameter over here. And we have parameterized it back onto the test plan level, and is accessible right now at the main. So what we can do over here is that we can now create a limit, a test limit on this particular value to decide whether the response passes or fails. So to add a limit, we simply right click on the parameter and say add limit. This is the name of the limit that I'm creating, called test response. And then you select the criteria for the limit. And for the pass-fail final results, you can choose to assign it to any of the DUT if you want to. We have not created any DUT yet, so let's go ahead to create a DUT in our test plan. Just click on add DUT, and this is the only one DUT that is being added right now. The test result is under undefined. Let's assign it into our limit. So let's run the test again. Right, the result is a pass, and the DUT table shows that DUT1 passes as well. Now, lastly, in a test plan, there will be cases whereby you have different variants of DUTs coming in, and different variants of DUT probably will have different responses, so that your test parameters or your test criteria may be different. So to demonstrate this, I'm going to change this to a variable, and then the variable value will then be different between variant A of the DUT and variant B of the DUT. I will create a new variable for this called expected value. Now the value of this particular variable, we will then use the variant to determine what value to expect. So first of all, what I'll need to do is to create the variant in my test plan. So I will have the first one, variant A. And for variant A, we will make use of the expected value variable and give this a value. So for variant A, we will be expecting the value called handler, which is supposed to match with the response and the test should pass. Click on apply changes, and I'll create another variant called variant B. For variant B, let's put in a dummy expected value, for example, ABC, and this should fail the test. Click on apply changes. So now we have two variants in our test plan, variant A and variant B. So let's use variant A to run our test first. Right, use variant A in test plan, and the current test plan is using variant A. So we run the test. The variant A value gets populated here, and the results is a pass. And now if we change the variant to be variant B, and run the test again, And now the test is expecting variant B's value, which is ABC. And obviously, the result is going to be a fail. So we have come to the end of this demonstration, and I hope it gives you a better understanding of the new features that we have for PTEM. Thank you very much for watching.